You are listening to the StockInvest.US podcast Trading Tips with Jim as we're heading into week 4 of 2025. Last week I promised you a volatile week, and a volatile week it became. Nasdaq up 2.44% and the Dow Jones even more, close to 4 with 3.7% upturn for Dow Jones. I made money and I hope you made money. It was the easy week. Gold went up, oil went up, and most stocks went up. Buy signals even increased from 18 last week to 22% by the end of the week. Tesla, also as I mentioned, Tesla had everything going for it before the week started, and it did exactly that, going up. During the podcast, I will tell you a little bit more what I think about Tesla this week. I will also mention Nvidia. If you haven't, please like and subscribe so we can keep this podcast growing and keep it online. As I said, last week was a good week for me. I'm pretty sure that most of you also had a somewhat good week. And looking at the chart, I like to say straight off that I think this will be another good week, as there is a buy signals from both short and long-term moving average in the Nasdaq chart, and also good support below. Resistance 20,000 points. So all in all, things are indicating that we are with big chance heading into a shortened trading week, as it will be closed today for the inauguration of Trump, but the rest of the week will be tradable, and it will be a slow week. Not much big news, some quarter results. I will get back to them shortly. We are leaving one president, changing to a new president, and I like to focus on the long lines. When Biden was elected, I made a lot of different choices based on what I thought would happen, and it turned out to be very correct, and I managed to make good money. Now we have a new president, we have a total new situation. It is time to rethink everything, how to play the cards moving forward. And the first thing that I would like to mention to you, because it's of such importance, is the US national debt. Reading news, you will see, oh, Biden left the super economy, Biden did this and Biden did that. Everything seems to be so perfect under Biden. But what has fueled the last growth or kept the economy going over the last 4 years? Well, that is debt. In fact, under Biden, the national debt has increased by $10 trillion. 1/3 of all debt has been created under Biden. Some of you would say, well, Trump also increased the national debt, and that is true. He increased the national debt by $6 trillion during his period. So Biden managed almost to double it, handing out money in the East and the West. And Trump, which managed to hold national debt somewhat okay during his first year, had to give up when COVID started. $4 trillion of Trump's debt came by COVID relief packages in 2020. Since then, it has just escalated. And we are going into a new president, a president that most likely will not keep increasing the national debt in the pace that Biden did, meaning that most likely there will be quantitative tightening in the economy. Everything argues for me, because this cannot continue. We had a crazy last 4 years. She became it, them, they, and everything was celebrated. Now the party really is over. We have to think about the future. And no matter what happens, I think that the debt will be the biggest issue of Trump's 4 years. If he managed to survive 4 years as a president, will be his biggest challenge. And I think that will hit the markets very, very hard. Here comes the first twist. And even Trump said a little bit about it himself, and others have slowly started to mention about it. One thing that can be an offset asset when debt has to be handled is crypto. That is why well into crypto. I celebrated a very nice last week, and the last 4 or 5 months been just super, and I think it will continue. Trump is pro crypto, which of course is good, because most crypto, there is no actual value in crypto. For some cryptos will turn out to have an actual physical value when they will be more used in our common daily life as a trading asset, meaning transaction asset, not trading, but transaction asset used in transactions. So I think for a selected few cryptos, there will be some magical 4 years coming up, as I think investors will try to move away from the dollar and into more secure asset. By the way, why I went into gold, and gold had a good week last week, up 1.13% for gold, ending the week at $2,748 per ounce. Remember some years ago when it was 1,600 and I told you, go into gold, because with all the uncertainty that the Biden administration is putting on the world, gold will be considered safe haven. Will it continue? I am absolutely not so sure about that. I think there is still an upside. You heard me say $3,500 many times. I still think there is an upside. I think that upside is a bit more limited. It's not what it was so many years ago, but choosing between crypto and gold, I think there is more upside in crypto actually. But if you are risk averse, gold would be more safe, because crypto will just go up and down, and every day you will wake up to a new number on your phone, and you cannot understand how it can move so much up and down just during a few hours or even a day. But that's the name of the game when you are into crypto. Should you be into meme coins? Yes, you should be into 1 or 2 meme coins, but just as a small lottery ticket. And anyone who took a lottery ticket in Trump's meme coin drew a very nice ticket, because it had a fantastic upturn. Happens to a lot of these meme coins. They come up, they get some publicity, like TTWO meme coin, and then later they vanish back to more realistic values. Anyway, it's better than betting on the lottery. Some of the meme coins have potential, and it's why not just have a small part which you easily can afford to lose into meme coins. Other than that, I suggest some of the bigger ones as a more safe haven. Having to handle the debt can be done by many ways. One of them is letting prices just run high, meaning letting inflation run high. The very good job numbers that came in last week can only be celebrated due to all the debt, all the borrowing, because all people mainly are getting hired in governmental positions, government growing to extreme sizes. In Norway, I know a few of you are Norwegian listeners, then Støre is bragging about what he has achieved, but is simply the same as Biden. Well, you hire a lot of people using other people's tax money, their real tax money. Easy to celebrate good numbers when the reality is totally different. At some point, the party is over, and that will be the main message, and I will not dwell more into politics in today's podcast. I think debt will be the main issue during President Trump's period. Has to be handled somehow. Somehow have to come up with a good idea what stocks, assets, whatever will thrive in a period where this will be the main issue. Will tech stocks thrive, for instance? Is that where we should be? Should we be in oil? Where should we be? Short thinking without being very deep about it. I know that war stocks still will be good, argued for that many times. I don't think they have the same upside like they had price-wise, but they will pay so huge dividends. So war stocks, war-related stocks will absolutely be a place to be, even though I'm very certain that we will see more de-escalation. We already see it now. There is a small peace agreement between Hamas and Israel, first step in the right direction, and I'm pretty sure we also will see something coming up with Ukraine shortly. The bigger question is what will happen around China. Hopefully it will just be a word and a slight trading war, that it doesn't brew out to anything really serious. Anyway, there is tons of things to do, and I also think that since we now have to clean up all the mess that has been created, I'm not sure there is the extreme room for upturns in the market. That being said, short term, there absolutely is. I started the podcast to say that Nasdaq looks really good. Everything is indicating that Nasdaq should go up during the week, maybe even can continue for months, who knows. But as I said, we have to deal with certain aspects of the economy, especially the debt, and that will change course. Tons of people, for instance, are outside the working force because benefits, as I said, been handing out in the East and West. When these benefits cannot be handed out, these people will come back to the workforce, and numbers will change for sure. I will slowly get back to what I think will be the main lines to trade about. To be honest, and it's allowed to be honest in the podcast, I didn't have huge expectations that Trump would manage to get to Inauguration Day. I thought that they would somehow manage to get to him. So I didn't plan way up ahead. I saw it as unlikely scenarios. I didn't plan to be ready for what will be the next 4 years. Anyway, it's time to do it. It's time to move assets around. It's time to think where to be. So far, and I know many of you really want to know exactly what I do personally, and I mentioned a few of these things. I'm into gold. I'm into a lot of stocks, but not too much. Crypto, I'm into peer-to-peer lending because that's a good market also with these high interest rates. Default rates, of course, are high but weighed up by the general high interest levels, and a few other things. But we are here to talk about stocks, and I mentioned that I would give a slight overview over Tesla and Nvidia, since these are two major stocks. And last week I said that I think Tesla will continue upwards. Everything was pointing towards it. And if the chart looked good last week, it looks even better this week. Tesla was and is, as I said, facing a lot of resistance where it is. Once it pops over 440, just expect it to move very fast. Think it's a high chance it will happen this week. Everything in the chart technically is speaking for a good week for Tesla shareholders. And speaking about Nvidia, not the same picture. And Nvidia is in a short-term falling trend. Everything indicates that Nvidia will continue in this short-term falling trend, meaning in the next 3 months, and even the longer picture is slightly starting to change. Very shortly speaking this week, well, there is buy signals from relative strength index being super low, getting a buy signals from the short-term moving average. So there is a high chance that also Nvidia will push a little upwards, but facing resistance. Every single dollar as it moves upward has to break above 150 before there will be any real speed. Just expect it to be a very slow ride upwards. And to be honest, I do not expect too much by the end of the week for Nvidia. Will be very interesting to see. I think the Tesla shareholders will be very happy. Nvidia shareholders, I'm not so sure they will celebrate the same upturn. About gold ending the week as $2,748 per ounce, should be somewhat okay week. Oil $78, and this is really bugging me a little bit, because the first thing Trump will do is put out a lot of executive orders, and he is drill baby drill, which is his own words, meaning that in the long run there is a high chance that energy prices will come down. This is super good for the world in general, very good. I know that a lot of Karens will now probably cry out loud, but in general it's good for the world, it's good for the economy, it will inspire growth, it will mean that a lot of companies will get back to the possibility of going green. So the long-term benefit of low energy cost is super. Still, we can have an upturn in oil, but the general outlook is harder. And as you know, I'm in a lot of oil-related stocks, betting on cargo, especially. I was previously in this real oil drilling stocks, changed over to a lot of cargo of gas and oil, because of huge dividends, etc. Now I think this one will be tricky. They will keep paying dividend because no gas will flow even faster over that lantern. The same with oil transport will slowly start to increase. I still think there is a general okay place to be, but I'm not sure the stock prices will move that much up for these sorts of companies, but they could hold good in a general slow-moving market. I will stay in the stocks for a little bit more, and if I rethink my structure, I will let you know. The week will be also a little bit more about quarter results, because now the quarter results are flowing. Last week was a lot of banks, and banks were just hammering in money. But we know how banks works. So nothing new in that. And from the $10 trillion that Biden has been putting out in East and West, banks have really scooped up tons and tons of this money. No wonder they are doing very good. Indeed, it was really expected. During this week, you will have Netflix. Netflix is expected to move 3.8% in either direction. Will come tomorrow on Tuesday. Then you will have 3MM will also come with the 3.76% expected movement. And I checked the quarter results coming out this week, and no stocks are really expected to move a lot according to our systems. Trying to figure out what will be the move. But if you are able to put the right bet on Netflix or 3MM, you could be in for a nice change during the day. Wednesday will be Alcoa, Johnson & Johnson, and Halliburton will also come on Wednesday. On Thursday there will be American Airlines, Texas Instrument, and not big swings expected for Texas Instrument, with only 2.5% expected swing plus or minus during the day. Friday will be Verizon at 3.10% expected movement. Mention these movements in case you are the one that loves to bet on quarter results. Many people do that. It's trading. You just have to figure out which direction the pendle will fall. Sometimes you can figure this out by reading the previous quarter results and see what the CEO said. Don't look so much about the numbers unless you really understand numbers. Look more to what the CEO says about what they expect. But market can still react totally different. Quarter results can come in good and stock may fall. Anyway, it's up to you. I just mentioned some of these. Buy and sell signals. I mentioned that 22% of all stocks are now giving buy signals. Nasdaq 14 up from 9. I told you last week that is very low, and that's usually where you just can go in with all sorts of money because it's where things turn. 14 is still very low. New York Stock Exchange increased from 14 to 26, and across the rest of the board they keep increasing. Frankfurt was, for instance, up from 21 to 50. Tokyo from 7 to 14, and even China was up, and the National Stock Exchange of India was also up. So we see buy signals increasing across the board, and usually when they get a little momentum, there will be a momentum in the market, again arguing for short-term positive markets. Thursday, of course, will be jobless claims numbers, but from this point on, I expect all numbers to really start to change. So when we start to speak next week, next month, will not be surprised if we start to see very, very different numbers across the board. That leaves us with only one thing left. That is the $1,000 challenge. If you haven't subscribed, remember to subscribe. And if you like the podcast, remember to like it. And by all means, ask questions and I will try to answer. Come up with your thoughts about what will happen over the next 4 years. Where should we put the money? Because this is if you're able to answer this question, what will be the trends, where to put the money? Then it's just about finding the assets within, or the stocks within the trend, trying to narrow it down to which stocks within the trend that will be good. That is how I successfully have built my assets and values. And now I'm a little uncertain, maybe you know, and maybe together we can discuss this. About the $1,000 challenge, we are into NEO. I am into NEO, the $1,000 challenge. Currently sitting at $2,493.84 after NEO rose slightly last week to 436. Still down 14.5% since it was bought at $5.10. And it's starting to get boring, sitting and waiting. And I do understand. But I have this strong feeling I will stick to it. All my logic says that NEO is undervalued, should push hard up. Now we will see how Trump will deal with China. Yesterday, for instance, after Biden shut down TikTok, he reopened TikTok. Now he has 90 days to figure out how to deal with the exact things about TikTok, so it's just temporary. But anyway, that was a slight positive sign of how to deal with China. And if he now starts to talk differently about tariffs and trades, because that is the one thing that's pushing Chinese stocks down, we can start to see these Chinese stocks listed in US have their upturn. I think it will happen. I stay stuck in NEO. I will stay there for some time more. I'm also, I would say, somewhat heavily positioned personally, buying in at several different levels, trying to find that bottom. If it will be, hopefully it will be. I will leave you with a few stock tips, because some of you are probably tired of NEO and wanted some actual stock tips. Well, short-term following two stocks are giving very strong buy signals. Coinbase and Take-Two. That is Coin, C-O-I-N, and Take-Two is TTWO, the tickers. These have given very, very strong buy signals for short term. I checked the charts, looks very, very good. High chance they will do good during the week. Two stocks that are at support levels, which usually offers an upturn. First one, Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals, then again Coinbase on the same list. So maybe Coinbase is the stock that will do very, very good during the week. I don't know for sure, but next week we will know the answer. Until then, just have a super week, and remember, subscribe, like, and leave a comment. And I hope to see you next week. More than anything, I wish you a super week and hope that by the end of the week your portfolio will be much greener than the beginning of the week. Bye.
Welcome to StockInvest.US Stock Analysis. We remind you that trading involves a high risk of losing money, and that you should speak with a financial advisor before buying or selling any securities. You should not base your investment decision upon StockInvest.US. By using the information, you agree and are held liable for your own investment decisions.